Ryan gets less fat.
Hello out there, friends and well-wishers, and welcome back to another episode of Ryan Gets Less Fat. It's your buddy Ryan, and today we're looking at the concept of healthy at every size and how that plays into the physical pain and illnesses that morbid obesity can bring on. So what does healthy at every size, sometimes called healthy at any size, really mean? Well, it's kind of a complicated question. It started off as an idea that doctors were putting forward that said heavy people shouldn't be shamed, they shouldn't be given worse health care, and weight loss shouldn't be the only goal that is given to them or the only thing they should be focused on working on. They should be focused on healthier habits, exercise, and just a better, healthier overall lifestyle. And that concept, as it exists, is something I can absolutely get on board with. The numbers on the scale don't tell the total story of a person's health, no matter how big they are. And I do think that sometimes when big people go to the doctor, it's sort of a default to say, well, it's caused by your weight and not look any further into it. I also think it's a bit of a defense mechanism on the part of fat people, and I'm one of them, so I can say this, to get angry when you're told that your weight is causing your problem and to try to look for some other solution or some other cause for it. But yes, stigmatizing fat people, shaming fat people, study after study after study has shown that doesn't work. It's not effective. So listen up. If you're out there and you're shaming people, you're making fun of people, you're stigmatizing them for their weight, you are not being helpful. A lot of times people try to hide behind the veneer of, I'm doing this because I'm concerned about your health. No, you're not. If you're stigmatizing, if you're bullying, if you're shaming, you're not being helpful. You're being an ass. Just don't be an ass. But what's happened over the last decade or so is a lot of YouTubers and social media people have taken the idea of healthy at any size and they've perverted it into something much more dangerous. They want to push the idea that obesity, morbid obesity, and super morbid obesity, which I have because I am super, are not necessarily detrimental to your health. That's a flat out lie. And yes, some of them will cherry pick medical studies that show certain things, but what they're doing is trying to find evidence to fit their narrative. They're not looking at the overall broader picture and what the medical community in almost totality will tell you about obesity. Being overweight, not obese, not morbidly obese, just overweight increases your chance of heart disease by 28%. More than 13 cancers and 200 separate illnesses have been linked to obesity. If you're obese, you are more likely to suffer from these medical maladies. And the Mayo Clinic has said that obesity is heavily linked to heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, sleep apnea, lots of digestive issues, heartburn, acid reflux, and of course those cancers that we mentioned earlier. I can definitely get on board with the idea that fat people should get quality health care, that ideas other than weight loss should be presented to us as ways to improve our health, and that we should not be shamed or stigmatized for our size. But if you want to tell me that walking around with 50, 100, 200, 300, 400 extra pounds on your body is not detrimental to your health, I'm going to call bullshit on that because it's simply not true. If you go on YouTube and just look for healthy at every size, you're going to see lots of videos from people pushing it as a good idea, and there are a lot of people pushing back against the idea of healthy at every size. But often the voices saying that are thin and in good shape, and that doesn't make them any less of an authority on health. In fact, it probably makes them more of an authority on health, but it makes them people who often don't know what it's like to be morbidly obese, super morbidly obese, or as I like to call myself, thick AF. Over the years, my weight has fluctuated quite a bit, but since my early 20s, I have been 400 pounds or more. So most of my adult life, I have been super morbidly obese with at least 200 pounds to lose. And realistically, I think a doctor would want me to lose more than 400 pounds at this point. And for a while, I was okay. My blood pressure was fine for a long time, and then it started creeping up. My A1C, my blood sugar, was fine for a long time. And then it went from the normal range to the bottom of pre-diabetic. And my doctor wasn't too worried as long as I was trying to lose weight. And then it went to the middle of pre-diabetic. And she was a little worried, but she said, well, you're still trying to lose weight. You're trying to do better. It'll come down. And then it went to the very tippy top of pre-diabetic, to the point where it was like, I'm borderline between just being a diabetic. I had to be put on medication to help keep it in control because I was not able to lose weight and keep it off. I suffer from gout, and gout is a very painful illness where little hard shards of a chemical in your body get into a joint, usually one of your toe joints, sometimes it's my ankles, and it is extremely painful to walk on, even to the touch. I was on occasional medication when I would have an outbreak, but it got worse and worse. I'm now on a daily medication to keep it from happening once a week. I've talked before about the fact that I'm on a happy pill to keep me, balanced and to try to fight the anxiety and the depression. Both things that I know would improve with losing weight. Earlier this year, I went to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack. It turned out to be an extremely bad case of indigestion and acid reflux. Now I'm on a daily medication for that too. Plus, of course, I'm taking vitamin D, I'm taking B12, other supplements, because I'm low in all those things. So every day I'm taking 8 pills. I am 40 years old and I need 8 medications to keep myself alive day to day. There are 90-year-old people around who don't have to take that many medications to live and to function. And all of it, every bit of it is directly tied to my weight. If I was at a healthier weight, I could probably get rid of some of those pills. If I could get myself to a really healthy weight, I might be able to get rid of everything. Beyond the physical illnesses that obesity can make worse or bring on, there's also 2 really important issues, especially when you're talking about people who are getting into the range that I am. 1, immobility, and 2 is pain. As far as immobility goes, I am already fairly immobile. I can stand, I can walk, I can get around my house, I can go out and travel to places sometimes, but it's all really difficult for me. And I want to take a second to do a little disclaimer here. This is not a Ryan pity party. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me or think I'm trying to look for sympathy when I relate these things. I did this to myself. Hey, are there mental aspects to weight? Sure. Are there emotional aspects? Sure. Are there some genetic aspects that maybe we don't understand yet? I think probably. Regardless, we're all dealt the hand we're dealt in life, and we have to deal with it the best way we can. There are people who have been under much worse circumstances than me who are not 600 plus pounds. This body is my fault, nobody else's, and the consequences of it that I suffer from are my fault, nobody else's. Just want to make that clear before I go on. I'm sharing this stuff to be informative about what this level of obesity can do to your body and will do to your body given enough time. Getting up from a chair is painful. Getting out of bed, getting up from the toilet is painful. Showering takes a huge amount of effort. And this isn't my 600-pound life paying me to get nude, so I'm not going to show you guys what it looks like. You ain't that lucky, and I'm not that sadistic. But it's very hard, and it takes all of my energy up to do it, to get into the shower, to clean my massive body, to get into all the folds and rolls and uncanny valleys. So most of my time, I'm in my bed, I'm in a chair in my living room. Those are the only 2 places I go. I go to the bathroom, and I do some basic household chores. Because of my weight, and because of my mental problems, I have not been able to work for several years now. My wife has had to carry that load for our family all by herself. So I've tried to do a lot of the housework around the house to try to, at least make myself feel like I'm being a productive member of our family and contributing something. So I do our cooking, I do the dishes, I do the vacuuming, I clean the bathrooms.
We only have 1 bathroom. I'm not sure why I said bathrooms. I lied.
And I do general straightening up. My wife has to handle the laundry because going up and down the stairs is extremely difficult for me and extremely painful for my knees. And I used to mow the lawn, weed whack it. I was not able to do that the last few years. We've had to hire a person to come and do that for us. But just doing those household chores is extremely difficult. I do the cooking and the dishwashing sitting on a chair as often as I can because it hurts my back if I'm standing up for too long. I can sweep and run the vacuum, but by the time I'm done, I have to sit and rest for quite a long time after. And then when it comes to leaving the house, that is the most difficult and painful thing of all. We kind of talked about this before, how I get so anxious about leaving that sometimes I can't leave the house. And a big part of that is I know it's going to be painful, and I'm worried that I'm going to hurt myself and become further immobile. This is stuff I don't talk about a lot because it's embarrassing, but just to be completely honest with you guys, putting on socks, I can barely put my own socks on. I have to sit on my bed, heft one leg up, and I can, reaching past my belly to my foot, I can barely reach and get socks on. Putting on shoes, I have a very difficult time because my feet swell. My feet are very big, and I have a large corn on my right foot, so my toe is jutted out. I have a hard time getting shoes on myself. I often have to have my wife or son kind of pull on the back of my shoe so my foot can slip in. So a lot of times, something simple like just going over for lunch at my sister's house or something, I need a day or two after to physically recover because my back and my knees are shot. And I know as our country has gotten bigger and bigger, there are young people out there who are seeing these influencers and these YouTubers who are saying, you can be healthy at any size. Just because you're massively overweight, it doesn't mean you're unhealthy. And they're taking that in and they're believing it. And because they're young, they probably still feel okay, and they're still able to do a lot of the things that they want to do. But what I hope that any of them who might happen to see this know is that time stops for none of us. And while you're young, you feel invincible. You feel like nothing's ever going to change. Nothing can hurt you. And as you get older, you realize everything changes and everything hurts you. And being this overweight is a ticking time bomb. It is going to explode eventually. It's going to come for your health. It's going to come for your heart. It's going to come for your blood sugar, your breathing, your joints, your ankles, your back, your knees. It's going to negatively affect your life. And if, God forbid, you get to a point where I am, those effects are devastating. Your life is not going to be a life you want to live. Your life will be constant pain, constant sickness, and constant disappointment in yourself. So feel good about who you are. Don't ever let your weight be the only characteristic about you that matters, because being fat does not define us. We are complete human beings. But if we ignore the serious health problems that come with being this big, we will all pay a price. And finally, the ultimate price, way too soon. That's something I am working to avoid, and I hope you will too. I'll get off my soapbox, it's flattened, and we'll talk about Project Deblobulate. We're going to do Project Deblobulate real quick this week. I sucked again this week. I did really poorly with everything. We are going to pause Project Deblobulate for 1 week. I'm not going to add a new goal on so that I can get the 4 goals I already have working again. Those are my exercise every day, adding vegetables in, drinking only water, and counting my calories and keeping under 3,000 calories a day. Haven't been doing any of them consistently. I did some of them some of the days, and actually my eating calories this week weren't that bad. But overall, it's another big failure. And I've decided there have to be consequences for me. Just coming here and prostrating myself before you and embarrassing myself before the dozens, hopefully, of you that see this, that's not enough. I have to have some sort of consequence. So next week, if I don't have 7 perfect days where I hit all 4 of those goals, I am going to eat a large piece of raw onion here on the video. And those who know me and know me well will know that raw onion is one of the only foods I don't gobble up. I absolutely hate raw onion. So if I don't have a perfect week, I'm eating a raw onion live on camera. Who wouldn't want to watch that? Oh, what's that? Most people, like everything else I make. Next week, we're going to talk about the advertising that's done for clothes for bigger people and why it's so rare to see actual fat models still selling clothes for fat people. It was a rough week. I didn't do well. I want to do better. I know you guys want to do better and you want to see me do better. Or maybe you want to see me eat that raw onion. Either way, you're going to tune in next week. But let's commit to having a good, solid, healthy week. I don't want to eat that onion. I don't want the onion. So I want to do really well. And I hope if you're trying to lose weight, whatever goals you're working on in your life, I hope you have great success this week too. But no matter if you think someone can be healthy at every size, or you think the idea of healthy obesity is a pack of lies, you are
Deceptive.